More hole. This is holes. I gotta dive into more holes. Okay. I'm just gonna keep making sex jokes, and I'm gonna come in that hole. Am I the hole for feeding my dog table scraps from a dinner my boyfriend made for us? I, 24 female, have been dating Jay, 28 male, for 4 months. He is handsome, smart, funny, well-educated, has an awesome job, and is a sweetheart. Sunday, he had a whole day planned for us. We were going on a walk, a nature trail, and then back to his place for dinner he was making. I was so excited because it was going to be the first time I'd be at his house. Since we were hiking, he said I could bring my dog Shelby with us. He made us a roast and some vegetables for dinner. I finished my plate before Jay and took it to the kitchen. There was still about half the roast left, and it was close to Shelby's dinner, so I took half of the roast and... Wait, I'm sorry. Not from your plate, but like, that's not scraps. Wait, hang on, I need to reread this part. He made us a roast and some vegetables for dinner. I finished my plate before Jay did and took it to the kitchen. There was still about half the roast left. For a brief second, I assumed she didn't finish half of her serving of roast. Okay, there was still about half the roast left, and it was close to Shelby's dinner, so I took half of the roast and some still raw vegetables from the fridge and put on a plate for Shelby. I was carrying the plate to the back door with Shelby to feed her outside, and Jay asked me what I was doing. I told him feeding Shelby. Jay said something like, well, that's not dog food. Jay knows I mainly feed Shelby a raw diet. I opened the door to put the plate down for Shelby, and Jay got up, took the plate away from her, went back to the kitchen, and came back with it wrapped up in tin foil and told me to leave. His excuse was that he made dinner for me and him, not me, him, and my dog, and that I should have asked before I helped myself since he would have used his leftovers. I did leave, but not before telling him that he made that meal for us so I could do with some of it as I pleased, and he knew damn well how I feed Shelby. Actually, you made the dinner for both of us, so I am entitled to do whatever with your food that I want. I tried talking to my friend about it later that night, but she said Jay was right to be upset, but this friend has never really approved of how I treat my... But this friend has always called me out for my narcissistic piece of shit tendencies, so I don't believe her. So I went to Reddit instead to, validate me. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. But this friend has never really approved of how I treat my own dog, so I feel like she was probably a bit biased and the wrong person to ask. Am I the hole for just feeding my dog like I normally would? This is also a lie. You're not creative. You're not a good writer. I can literally tell that you're trying to spin this narrative to make it look favorable for you, and you're doing a fucking terrible job. Clarification. She does not get restaurant food daily. I eat out maybe 4 times a month. If what I eat is dog safe or the restaurant makes food for dogs on request, then I bring some for her. Shelby's daily meals are a bit of brown rice, raw vegetables, and ground chicken hearts and beef livers. None of that is cooked human food with spices in it. The hearts and livers are boiled just enough to kill the bacteria, and that is all with the approval of Shelby's vet. I asked Jay how he prepared the roast so I could know if it was safe to give her. That is also why I got her fresh, unused vegetables from the fridge. I accept that I'm the hole for what I said and did to Jay. Some of these responses were harsh, but I see now how and why I was entitled, thanks to the people that responded to the actual issue. Others going on about her diet, thanks for the concern, but I came here to ask about Jay, not get into a debate about dog foods. Shelby's been on her diet for 6 years and is a healthy and active puppo. That's all I need, and my vet needs to know. As for Jay, I apologized to him and did accept my apology, and he broke it off. He said it was the last straw for him over me doing things without asking first. He has talked to me about taking things off of his plate or his drink without asking before. I've tried to do better, but keep slipping up. I didn't realize I was that bad about it, so I'm going to work on myself for the next guy. For people that said not going to his place for 4 months was a red flag, that was my decision that he respected. I don't want to go to someone's house or them know where I live the first few months of dating and getting to know each other. That's the most sane, like, logical thing you've said this entire post. Yeah, work on yourself for literal. Work on yourself for yourself. Work on yourself because you want to do and be better. Otherwise, you're not going to get better. You are making your personality revolve around another person. And when you do that, it can be destructive to yourself and those around you. Because what happens when you lose that person? What happens when that idealized thing that you have created goes away or does not turn out the way that you wanted? Get better, do better, be better, improve for yourself. Anyway, bingo squares for our Reddit comedy show. I wasn't going to read this one, but then I started to skim it. I have to. Okay, new prediction. Am I the whole for not telling my uncles we won't inherit anything? Before my 18 male grandma passed away, she and I had an arrangement. She gave me money to buy horror novels, and I read them to her twice a week. We spent a fair amount of time together. During one of our last sessions, she confided in me that she wanted to leave all her money to charities, but decided to leave a college fund for my cousin, 16 female, since Uncle Henry lost a massive part of his savings through gambling. The guy thought he could recover all he lost by making a big bet on Mike Tyson, but then Jake Paul won, so he ended up losing even more. Fuck, it was literally rigged from the beginning. Oh yeah, Mike Tyson had to agree to so many different stipulations beforehand. Grandma asked me not to tell anyone about this, and I didn't. I kept my mouth shut. When my dad and uncles found out, they reacted in different ways. Dad wasn't really that surprised since Grandma was rather charitable, especially in her later years. Uncle Henry was grateful for the fun, but Uncle John was quite upset, saying that she's their mom and should have left them something. All three of them got suspicious and asked me if Grandma told me about this during one of the afternoons I spent at her place. I admitted that I knew about it, and Uncle John said I should have told them first instead of letting them find out this way, that it wouldn't hurt so much if he had time to prepare instead of being caught off guard. You should not hinge any sort of financial decisions or planning or longevity or anything on the possibility of maybe getting an inheritance. That's all you. Opie promised not to tell. They were keeping a promise and they were not. Yeah, absolutely not the asshole. You kept your promise to your grandma. Absolutely. Unfortunately, I cannot find new posts while I'm holding the baby truck. So I guess we're just stuck here for a second. Are you ready for more stories? Are you ready? Get your fucking inspector pants on and get ready to inspect some holes. Am I the hole for kicking out my mom's boyfriend? When I was 17, my mom came into money. She tried to keep it quiet, but she paid off my dad's debts, bought him a small house, paid off her debts, and paid for my sister's college and set up funds for mine. She had a boyfriend at the time, and shortly after him and his son, who was 7, moved in to our new house. Over the next few years, Mom bought my sister a house after she graduated college. Her boyfriend lived with us and didn't pay anything, but he did work. When I was 21, Mom got diagnosed with cancer. It wasn't good. She sat me and my sister down and went over exactly how much money there was. She intended to give her current house to me, and both me and my sister were left with a large sum at the end of it. She asked if I would allow her boyfriend to stay in the house with his son until he got his own place. I agreed. Before she died, she told her boyfriend he would need to look for his own place, but had time to save more for that journey. For the last 4 years, he has continued to reside in the house with his son. I haven't minded because we get along okay. I pay all the bills, but he does buy food for him and his kid. He has dated off and on, mostly kept the women out of this house, which I respected him for, until his current partner. She's been in my house 3 times, and at first, besides feeling a little uncomfortable, I was okay with her. The last time this past weekend was the point where I lost my shit. I was making myself some lunch when she came walking downstairs. She grabbed a plate and went to grab food out of my pan. I asked her what she thought she was doing. She started telling me how I should look for somewhere else to live, and leeching off my dead mom's past relationship as an adult was pathetic. You can tell OP was getting angry recounting this for Reddit, because the grammar and the reading cohesion has started to fall apart. I hollered for my mom's old boyfriend. He came down, and I told him I didn't know what his current thing thought, but I wasn't going to be disrespected in my house. He wouldn't even look me in the eyes as he mumbled something about my mom promising him the house, and he was just being kind, letting me stay. Spineless, wet noodle, lying, conniving boyfriend. Wow, okay. First, that isn't remotely true. Mom pulled him and I together after she asked if he could stay to set expectations. My mom met him shortly before she won the money and told him and us girls that she had no intention of leaving him money. She did set aside a fund for his son for college when he gets there, but he cannot touch it, only his son can. He has lived in this house for almost 8 years without paying a dime, and he should have plenty of money, and if he doesn't, that's on him. I told him he had 30 days to leave. I wasn't going to house someone who would lie and disrespect me in my house. He left that night with his son, but his ex-wife called to tell me I am cruel and an a-hole for her son losing his house. He is here every other week. You had your ex-wife? The wettest, limpest, spineless noodle baby man. Wet noodle baby man. Are you kidding me? I really feel like my mom didn't expect him to still be here, but my sister said she feels like I am breaking my promise to my mom, and that made me feel like maybe I am the hole. No. This man is a parasite on you. Ain't no fucking way he's even if he is lying to his prospective partners, if he is lying to his girlfriends that you are the leech and he's not the one living rent-free under your house, ain't no way that he is actively looking for a place for him and his son to move. He is so fine living rent-free under your roof. Out of here, dude. For 8 years. Listen, wait, when was this posted? 7 days ago. Seven days ago. I know that the housing market is trash right now. Absolutely. And renting right now, also incredibly trash. I understand that. I would like to do just a bingus. Just the littlest, tiniest little bingus of some math. And just to drive the point home, just to really drive the point home, I'm going to use metrics from the average rent and or mortgage payment from the cheapest state in the United States. Let's just go to number 1. Let's just scroll all the way down. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Birmingham, Alabama, and then Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Average apartment rent, $839. That is, over 8 years, that is $80,544. If you were in the absolute cheapest place to live in the United States of America, and you were living completely rent-free while also working, you were saving, on average, $839 every month. And over the course of 8 years, that is $80,000, $80,500 you did not have to pay. That's just rent. Yeah, exactly. That's just rent. That doesn't count utilities either. Not only, this is a sizable down payment for a nice house. I was in banking too fucking long. I can't fucking stop myself. Anytime someone's like, hey, yeah, some finance facts, I'm like, I get fucking rabid. Stop! This is not Finance Fridays. We are inspecting holes. If you want me to do a fucking finance show, we can talk about that later. I can give financial advice on a different show if that's what you really want. But right now we're talking about shitty men on the internet from anonymous submitted stories, okay? Anyway, update. I know the other sub is very subjective on updates, so I figured I would post it here. I do want to take a moment to address some things I saw in the comment. One, there are trusts set up and neither me nor my sister have full access to the money left us. This was both done because my sister and I were in our early 20s when my mom died. She wanted to make sure we had some stability before we had access and to protect us from people who try to take advantage, especially while we were grieving. Two, I have a lawyer. He has already informed me legally to my area what eviction laws are. My mom's former boyfriend will be served with formal eviction papers just to cover myself even after today. So, the update. Okay. My dad came over, decided not to have my boyfriend over since he doesn't know about the money side and I wasn't trying to have the boyfriend out of the situation this morning, and brought along my cousin. For easier telling, I'm going to call my mom's former boyfriend C. Just type the letter C. If you would like to choose a name for this character in the Am I the Asshole story, type the letter C into chat and nothing else. Count Dumbula showed up at about 10 a.m. my time and talked to my dad, then asked if he could give a couple of minutes alone with me. Dad nodded, so my cousin and him went into the kitchen and Count Dumbula and I sat in the living room. I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to go as it had, but I'm glad it did. Count Dumbula started with an apology. I don't remember all of the words he said, but the basics were, he missed my mom, he's been lonely, but not alone thanks to me and his son. He was sorry for what happened, that he got caught up in lust and let someone else fill his head with ideas, and that he owned up to his mistakes and should have never put up with someone who would disrespect me or my mom's memory. Hang on. I'm so, y'all, I love math. I'm so glad that we did the math before this. You ready for this? He tried to hand me a cashier's check for $15,000. He said it wasn't much, but he wanted me to know he appreciated me and living with me, and he wanted to pay me back some of what he owed. I refused the check, both in part because I never wanted his money, but I also don't want to give any possible legal leg for him to stand on if this is somehow him trying to stay. I told him the first part and told him to put it towards a house. He told me he is living with his sister but is going to look at houses with a realtor next week. He did say his son is asking about our next hangout date and said both me and my sister are welcome to arrange time with him. After all of that, my dad and cousin helped him get all of the stuff and out of the house that he owned. He had brought a U-Haul and he gave me back my house keys. He apologized again and left. Not what I expected, but it went really well and I feel a lot less like I let my mom down. That's the goal. Piss right now. Time for piss time. You want to go potty? Go potty right now. Potty right now. Potty. Shit on the ground. Potty on the carpet. Go potty. Go potty. Go potty. Teach them to unionize. Now that's what I'm talking about.